Welcome back. If it has joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari commends renewed vigor by ECOWAS member countries to mobilize own resources to combat terrorism as South African President Cyril Ramaphosa takes over leadership of African Union at the end of the two-day meeting of the continental body in Addis Ababa. Northern Elders Forum passes vote of no confidence on President Muhammadu Buhari and the country's service chiefs as presidency describes group as a one-man army. Southeast governors conclude talks in setting up the region's security outfit as they applaud ongoing work on Second Niger Bridge and Akanu-Ibiam Airport renovation. And thousands of passengers stuck on a cruise ship in Hong Kong finally disembark after testing negative to the coronavirus. Our website, channelstv.com, has more information on our top stories and others. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. You can also watch us via your smart TV platforms on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, and of course, Roku. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that you sent into our Eyewitness platform. We begin with this video from the Kara axis of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway showing these road users who, according to our Eyewitness reporter, are protesting an alleged traffic obstruction by the Federal Road Safety Corps officials. He's insisting the men should have controlled traffic, and he wants them to devise better means of dealing with erring motorists other than causing traffic jam. Our next set of images are from Igomu in Lagos State, showing an ongoing construction of railway tracks. Eyewitness commends the work done so far and expects the pace and quality of job to be maintained. Well, staying in Lagos comes our last video showing this open manhole on the Idumota Bridge. Eyewitness sees this as a death trap. He's asking whoever is responsible for this to fix it, and on time too. Thank you for sending in those pictures. And you too can send yours through the Channels TV apps when you get them from the app stores. The police in Yobe State have arrested 3 suspects allegedly involved in the attack on the convoy of the Emir of Potiskum on January 15th, in which at least 30 people were killed. A statement from the Force Public Relations Officer, Mr. Frank Mba, says the suspects were arrested following mop-up operations by police operatives at the operational basis of the Ansaru terrorist group in Kuduru Forest, Beningwari. Mr. Mba adds that the suspects are already assisting investigators with useful information relating to the terror group's membership, operational records, logistics, and modus operandi. The arrest brings the number of persons arrested in connection with the attack to 8. Now, away from security, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission today revealed how a former governor of Abia State, Theodore Orji, withdrew 500 million naira from the state's account for 8 years. The commission said the former governor started the monthly withdrawal when he was chief of staff to convicted former governor of the state, Mr. Ojuzo Kalu. A statement from the EFCC says the commission has been looking into various financial activities of Mr. Orji following a petition by an anti-graft group, Fight Corruption, Save Nigeria. It was alleged that the various withdrawals were diverted to personal use. The amount the investigation revealed was aside from the security funds expended on the Nigerian Police, Nigerian Army, Department of State Services, Navy, and so on, for the purchase of security equipment and vehicles for agencies. The agency says it traced several slash accounts to a man called Chinedum. In health matters, the Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Hanire, is confident that Nigeria has the capacity to detect and respond to the coronavirus if imported into the country. The minister, who is in Lagos, says his visit is to critique and fine-tune the strategy against the import of the virus.
Two strategic locations, both built to fit the purpose. The inspection begins at the Central Medical Store, where vaccines and drugs for infectious diseases are stored. From there, they move to the Mainland Medical Hospital, Isolation Center in Yaba area of Lagos, where the facility is undergoing an upgrade. The Minister of Health says the country will not let down its guard despite the Chinese success of treating and discharging over 2,600 people infected with the coronavirus.
I've been to the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, which is a designated isolation hospital. We have been to the hospital in Kano, and we have been to, since today now, to this place here in Lagos. Why? After a risk assessment, we come to the conclusion that the putative gateway for importation will be by air. We are not expecting that we are going to get an importation through the land border, but we are not ruling it out. Neither are we ruling out the sea border.
The minister says his visit to Lagos is to fine-tune the strategy, as Lagos already has a high level of preparedness and knowledge of infectious diseases.
I'm confident that Lagos is ready. They have the highest volume of air travel, so the preparedness here is more important than anywhere else.
On its part, the Lagos state government says it is leveraging on the 2014 experience of the Ebola outbreak.
We've been building capacity, we've been building infrastructure, we've been building revising our legislative arms to ensure that we have correct policies, guidelines, and frameworks. We've been training staff that are specially equipped to deal with these kinds of outbreaks, dangerous outbreaks.
More than 20,000 cases of the virus has been confirmed globally, but none of those have been recorded in Africa. The Nigerian government says it is taking a crucial step in protecting lives, given the importance of early detection.
We'll stay both with health now. The Global Health Security Index is the first comprehensive assessment and benchmarking of health security and related capabilities across 195 countries. This index is a project of the Nuclear Threat Initiative, the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, and the Economist Intelligence Unit. In its maiden report, released some days before the outbreak of the novel coronavirus, it revealed that international preparedness for epidemics and pandemics remains weak. How can Nigeria improve its ranking and health service delivery? To discuss this tonight is Babajide Ogusowo. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10. I love how you enter into various, sectors, the economy. And today we're talking about health. We're 96 we're ranked 96 in out of 195 countries in the Global Health Index report. Not a very good place to be at. So how do we move up?
The fact is, we're ranked 96 out of 195 countries. That puts us right in the middle of the ladder. But tonight, before we speak about the Global Health Security Index, I'd like to talk about a lot of what Nigerians are concerned about, the coronavirus. What are the facts on the coronavirus? And as at 12 p.m. today, the fact shows that we've got 37,546 confirmed laboratory cases. And there have been 813 deaths. Out of the 813 deaths, 811 came from China. In Africa, there have been no confirmed cases of coronavirus. Now, the second is, which state in Nigeria has the highest life expectancy? I'll share that with you, and I know some Nigerians will run to that state. But speaking to the Global Health Index report, the world average out of 100 is 40.2. The report says we scored less than that. The fact shows our results is 37.8 out of 100. But let's take a look at the 6 indicators that the Global Health Security Index have used to come up with Nigeria's result. They say a score out of 100 on our health system. We scored 19.9 on our health system. They say our response to health challenges, our score is 43.8 out of 100. And our highest score is we're doing well when it comes to international compliance and norms. So we scored 56.7. On the average, our score still remains relatively low, 37.8 out of 100. The global average is 40.2 out of 100, so we are still below the global average. But just as we talked about last week when we focused on national security from a different perspective from the borders, which showed that security, yes, was at this, the terrorist threat was at this peak in 2014, and we've seen 3 years of decline. Even though we've seen an improvement, the goal should be 100%. With security, yes, we're at the middle of the ladder.
So, okay,
we're at the
because
middle of the ladder, but we need to also keep improving. We need to keep improving.
Okay, but you really need to focus on how we're moving up the ladder and, you know, what we can learn from other countries who are higher up the index.
So to learn, we need to look at what are the countries that are up the index, what are they doing? The number one country is the United States. And I'd like us to take a look at what the United States approach has been and what we can learn from the US. And then we can also look at what other countries can learn from Africa and Nigeria. And if we take a close look at the US model, here's what you'll notice. The first is, if you look at all their economic parameters, yes, it's a country of over 300 million. The first is their budget. Their budget is over $4 trillion.
For health?
No, their national budget. So if you take a look at it line by line, you see population. Now, the health budget is over $40 billion for medical research only. The budget, the 2020 budget we have is $4 million. And if we focus on that and what it means per person, it shows that in the United States, the health budget per person is the equivalent of $260. And in Nigeria, the health budget per person is only $7. So what this means...
And that hasn't increased because of the coronavirus, has it?
No, yeah, that budget hasn't increased because there will be need to increase appropriation if we want to increase it. But here's what it means. It means that the first challenge is we need to make more money in the country, because without making more money, we will not be able to allocate more money to health. So the first is the government needs to make more money. Number one, if it makes more money, then we can get more money into health. The second thing is, while we're waiting to make more money, the government needs to allocate what it has currently more wisely. So we need to allocate funds based on where will these funds have the highest impact on life. So you know what the business professionals do? They have a template. They call it the net present value, the IRR. They use that to determine where they want to keep money in. So the government also has to develop its own template, especially on health, that would allow it to prioritize every kobo that has been collected from tax payers. And finally, what the government now needs to also do, especially that because we now know there's no case of coronavirus in Africa or even in Nigeria, is that there has to be better communication. And we need to improve communication through social media and through traditional means, especially radio. People need to ensure that they wash their hands better and they take hygiene more seriously, because, as Winston Churchill said, the greatest asset a country has is the health of its people.
Indeed, all hands on deck. Babajide, thanks again. Always a pleasure having you on the News at 10.
The pleasure is always mine.
And when the News at 10 returns, Bauchi community laments lack of access to proper health care and basic amenities, with residents raising concern over exposure to communicable diseases. That's in our community report tonight. Join us again.